Good morning, gang. Good morning. Welcome back to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, remember, nothing discussed today is financial advice. It's just for educational purposes only, and it's my view of the markets. Now that's out of the way, let's quickly jump into some zero BS technical analysis, shall we? So no moonball shit around here. Now, we've had quite a few requests today. So we've got KDA, SUSHI, Ocean, ALGO, and FLUX. So what we're going to do is going to just quickly speed through these and look at some potential setups that's on the cards and what I'll be expecting next. So first and foremost, KDA. Now this is something that we looked at quite a long time ago. Obviously we had the old range fib tool that we use in the group, and so far it's, you know, we've had a bounce since the absolute lows. We've come up what, 70% ish. We're starting to face a bit of a pullback here, and the reason why we're starting to face this pullback here is we're coming up to this obviously deviation line, which is the outside deviation. Now anyone that's not followed us for a while, we can see that we've got our range fib tool. You can see here the white lines at the top and at the bottom. That's our main core range, and the blue and the purple on the outside are the standard deviations for said range. So for me here, you know, could the bottom be in? Yeah, bottom could be in. Could it go lower? Yeah, it could go lower. Now again, it's not really helpful. However, from a fresh longs perspective, what I'd want to see with this is I'd want to see some strength, and realistically I'd want to see acceptance back into this value area. Okay, so for me right here, no trade. If anything, there's, well, we're looking on the weekly here, there might have been a short at the beginning of the week potential, but for fresh longs I'd want to see getting back into this value area. Now if we do get back into this value area, then it's got a chance then to push up higher. If we do push up higher, first and foremost, we have got this point of control, which is a big point of control, but it's going back now since the start of the range, which is now what, going on for 553 days. Okay, so there's big resistance level here. Okay, however, if we do start to flip that and we get back above this point of control, then we can start looking back at the original range lows, which is around 129. Now this is again a key area. If it gives a short setup, there's a potential for a short play there to bring it back down once again, back down to this point of control region, and if that doesn't hold, back down towards value area low. However, if this doesn't give a short in this instance, and we manage to get back into this range once again around that 130 sort of level, then we've got the potential to start playing the range again. Now, if we do start playing the range again, then we can look for a push up, first and foremost, into value area high, more realistically targeting the EQ of the range. And if that causes nothing here at all, no reactions, no pullbacks, now once again there would be take profit targets for said longs, but if we don't get anything, then we can start to look back up at the range high. At range high definitely would be a lock-in of take profits on any longs, and there's the potential then for a counter trade, a hedge trade up at this region here if the setup is given. But until then, it's not looking like the strongest of coins compared to some of the others. It could be lagging. I agree, it could be lagging, but there's a lot of other coins that could be traded over this. But yeah, I'd want to see that strength. I'd want to see getting back into value area before getting involved. You know, that this could continue just to bleed down until it finds a natural bottom, and in that case, at that point, we can revisit it and formulate some new plans. But I'd want to see some strength with this. Okay, the next one is SUSHI. Now this is an old range. Once again, we've not looked at SUSHI for a long time. We can see here, like some of the rest of the market, we've had a big bump up a couple of weeks ago at the end of October. Big push up. We've come into this old point of control and had a nice rejection there. So obviously if you caught a short there, absolutely fantastic. You've just grabbed some local liquidity above these highs into this point of control. In fact, if you grabbed, no, you've not grabbed liquidity from this high. Again, we're looking on a weekly time frame here. Now, for this to remain in a positive structure, what we need to see now is this range low hold. So obviously we can see here, once we've had this big rejection, we've come back down the following week, which was last week. We've come back down and we've retested that range low. Let's zoom into a daily time frame here so we can see this a little bit better. But a good reaction of this range low. But now what we want to see now is we want to see that structure shifting on a daily time frame back into a positive momentum. If it gives you that, then there's potential for a long trigger, and longs would be in play up to the EQ. Okay, but if we don't see any strength down in this region, then there's no long triggers, in my opinion. Obviously, your long was that first tap there, but let's see what happens next. Now, for shorts, well, in fact, actually, that's not gone to shorts yet. If this doesn't hold, then likelihood is we're going to come back down and revisit this region here, which is effectively the origin of this move. And then at that point, if you are bullish on the asset and you're a bag holder, then you want to see that hold. And if that doesn't hold, then it's likely going to go a lot lower. Okay, once again, just continue bleeding out until it finds its absolute base level. Now, to the upside, if it does manage to get beyond this EQ, then once again, we're just looking for range highs. At range highs, standard story, we've got liquidity above these highs. So if we come into range highs, run that liquidity and start to reverse, then we've got some shorts. If that's the case, then we can be looking to bring those shorts back down towards EQ, depending on what structure looks like up here, but provisionally back down towards EQ. See if that gives us anything. If not, then back down towards range lows. But like some of these other coins, that they're lagging behind and they're still range bound. I'm not going to get overly excited until this range starts to give way. Once this range gives way, then it's time then to get a little bit more excited. But for now, it's fairly weak, you know, compared to some of the other coins in the market. It's once again, you got to look at coins like SUSHI and you know, some of the older coins now. Obviously, some of these coins came out in this cycle, well, last cycle, you know, around your 2020 sort of levels. You know, so these, yes, they do have the ability to make new all-time highs, but they're no longer the shiny new altcoins that the ones were. Excuse me while I cough. They're no longer the shiny altcoins that they once were. You know, the altcoins that are really going to pump hard next cycle are the ones that likely they've not been created yet, or they're being created as we speak. Okay, so yes, as much as some of these coins are going to be good for day traders and still some swing trades, they're not going to have the runs that the once did when they were first created. Okay, next, Ocean. Not looked at Ocean in a long time. I know we need to look at this on log because of how it looks. Yep, there we go. Right, so Ocean. So obviously we've got the macro top range, which is very similar to obviously the old top range on Bitcoin as well, which we are back in. And Ocean is back in too. Now, if you are bullish on this asset, then you need to see this local downtrend turning round. Okay, we've got first signs of some strength here. Now, is this a place where I'd be longing? No, I wouldn't be longing here because within the context, we're in a local range high, with these being the highs. Deviation, resistance, 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 resistance. It's resistance until proved otherwise. So I wouldn't be personally longing here, especially not looking on the daily chart like this. What's it look like on the weekly? Same scenario, nothing much has changed. So we do have a range to play here, with this being the range high, and then obviously this being the range low. If bullish momentum is to continue and this starts coming back down again, then you don't want to lose this range low. Because if you lose this range low, chances are we're going to be revisiting these kind of levels down here, which are going to be roughly around 15 to 16 cents. If we do start to come down to this and get a good, strong, bullish reaction, local change of market structure to the upside, then yeah, there's potential for longs there. But that's assuming that this doesn't hold. Now, if it does hold, then, once again, long the range lows, short the range highs. Eventually, one side will give way. Now, it's which side gives way first. If the bottom gives way, there's the lower target. If the top gives way, then we can start looking up towards this EQ, effectively grabbing the liquidity from here. We do have resting liquidity above there. So if we come up into here, that would certainly be a lock-in, take profit on any longs that you may have from the range lows, and or open a hedge position as well. Now, if that gives us nothing, then realistically we can start looking at some higher targets, and then we can start looking effectively towards these highs here around 150. And if that gives us nothing, which it probably wouldn't at that point, then we can start looking back up at your overall macro range highs. Okay, so it's all to play for an Ocean, in my opinion, with this. It's effectively which side does this range break. And obviously, if it does break to the downside and this doesn't hold, then we can start looking at some much lower targets. But we will talk about that on a future video. ALGO next. Now, ALGO was a coin that we talked about a while back. and I was talking about I wasn't interested until I started to see some signs of strength, and that's when we were back down here, because obviously we had the initial push up into this level, which ended up being a fake out, and then a drive back down. Then we've had the push up. Okay, so now it's starting to look a little bit more interesting. So let's throw this onto the 3-day so we can fit it onto the screen. Now, if this is to hold, would I be chasing this long here? Would I be chasing this? No. Why would you chase that? Something that's gone up. If we look at it on a weekly basis, we've had 1, 2, 3 weeks of upside. Now, that's just an arbitrary number, saying 3 weeks of upside, but still, we have had a big push to the upside from the lows of 69%. So I wouldn't be chasing this. What I'd be wanting to see now is, do we get the local strength? So do we start to come back down into some sticky zones here to then give us the option for long plays? If we do, great. If this just runs without you, not a problem. Let it run. Not a problem. There's thousands of other altcoins that you can trade. However, now we've reclaimed that level. We want to see, ideally, want to see it retested. Bear in mind, it's been support, front run of support, and then it's flipped into resistance. So now we want to see that SR flip. If that SR flip gives us a trigger, then we've got a trigger to go long. From that point, then we're just going to take it up to key levels, and we're going to play it level to level until it starts to show some weakness. Now, realistically, from this long, you'd be looking first and foremost to take it up to this level here. If that offers nothing at all, then the next sticky zone is going to be this range here, okay, which is roughly, if we're going to throw a number on it, around 22 cents. Okay, so algo's potentially looking interesting, but we want to see that coming back down to actually give us an opportunity to get involved. And finally, Flux. Now, Flux is, once again, in another interesting position because we're now starting to get back into this top range after potentially a deviation. Now, if this is to hold, then what you'd be looking for, again, let's come down into the daily, is coming back down into this level, and once again, treating this as an SR flip. If it gives you the long trigger, then great. You've got that there. If it doesn't give you a long trigger, then we can start to look back down into this consolidation below. And effectively, you don't want it to lose that point of control, because that's where all your volume is. So if it doesn't hold here, then your next best option would be down there. If that doesn't hold, then this no longer was a deviation, or it was an initial deviation followed by another deviation, and then we can start looking to come back down into this consolidation down here. Okay, so once again, there's quite a few altcoins that are in very interesting places right now, okay, as I've been updating the guys in our group. Okay, so if you've liked today's video, don't forget to hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and make sure you hit that bell notification button, because don't forget, it's pointless watching these videos back in a few weeks' time when price action has moved on. All right, gang, as you were. Bye-bye.